Hi, everyone. Let's start. So my name is Shanik Fir. I'm part of the team at Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center in Tel Aviv. We are very, very happy to have you all here with us at our annual mobility event as part of EcoMotion 2022. We'll present Taiwan and its booming EV and automotive industry. As you'll hear from our esteemed guests and speakers in just a few minutes, Taiwan, which is already well known as a global manufacturing and electronics powerhouse, is also becoming known as a hub for EV and advanced automotive technologies. The automotive industry in Taiwan is growing. In recent years, we see more and more of Taiwan's leading companies offering automotive solutions and systems relying on their core expertise in electronics and hardware manufacturing. Our main speakers today represent two of Taiwan's leading companies, Quanta Computer and UMC. They will share their perspective and vision for the automotive industry and also regarding startup collaboration opportunities with Taiwanese corporates. We'll also get a chance to hear the Israeli angles. Autotalk's CTO will share his experience of working with Taiwanese partners. Lastly, we'll share with you a great startup program that we are initiating to provide opportunity for Israeli mobility startups to engage with the Taiwanese automotive industry. We welcome you to take the most out of this event, and we'll have a chance to hear questions from you following every session. We'll open for one or two questions from you, from the audience. And if time will allow, we'll also open a Q&A session with the entire panel towards the end of the event. In any case, we welcome you to reach out to us here or in any medium to chat, to talk. We want to get to know your companies, your solutions, and have a chance to work together. And that's it. To kick off the event, I'm very excited to invite Ms. Emma Young. Emma is the director of the Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center in Tel Aviv.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to join us. My name is Emma. I am the director of Taiwan Tel Aviv office. I came here in 2019 to open this office. Our office main mission in here is to create a technological partnership between Taiwanese and Israeli companies. Following the trend and the needs of the Taiwanese industry, our office has a strong focus on the EV sector. We believe it will become a dominant sector in the future between Israel and Taiwan. We are happy to cooperate with the EcoMotion. This is our second year, actually, to showcase the Taiwanese EV ecosystem and opportunities for Israel, especially for Israeli startups. Even though right now Taiwan's border is still closed, we decide to find the best way we can to create effective opportunities for building new connections between our two countries. I think many people in here will be very eager to know about Taiwan. So today we got great speaker, Dr. Ted Zhang, I think from Quanta Computer, and Mr. Steve Pan of UMC Capital, and Mr. Om Haran on side of Autotalks. I want to thank them for their precious time and efforts. I hope you will find this hyper event very productive, and I strongly encourage you to join our program for e-mobility Taiwan Global Demo Day. Any questions, please feel free to contact us anytime. Thank you.
Thank you, Emma. So let's begin. Quanta Computer is the largest laptop manufacturer in the world and the primary assembler of Apple's MacBook. In recent years, Quanta secured an important position in the global EV supply chain by becoming a supplier for Tesla's EVs. We are very fortunate and grateful to have here with us today Dr. Ted Zhang, Quanta Computer's CTO, VP, and GM, to share with us his vision for the industry. Please.
Hi, everyone. Thanks for having me today. This is Ted Chen. I'm the CTO of Quanta Computer. So the topic I chose for this event is driving for the future together. So I'm not just really want to speak something about the ecosystem of EV, but I will try to let you know about the bigger vision for the future. And so that you can understand about our strategy and how we can work together much better. And so I major in the aeronautics and astronautics. So there are two things that are very important related to EV. One is navigation, the other is guidance. And so the first one stands for where you are, the guidance stands for where to go. So basically, Quanta is always trying to redefine our position for the future in the vision and try to collaborate and with different kind of partners to define what would be the best way to work together for a much better, toward a much better future. And so the company was founded back in the year 1988. And so Quanta is a 34 years old startup. And so we do all the R&D in Taiwan. This is our headquarter R&D building. So Quanta centralize all the R&D in Taiwan, but we do global supply chain management. We have manufacturing site in mainland China and also Aachen and also in the States. But in Taiwan, we do all the R&D. We direct work with the major customers to develop the next new things. And so it's not
on the lawn. This man's
it's not
Taiwanese
just
firm
the
turns
biggest
over
laptop
$36
maker
billion
on
a
this
year.
planet. Basically, we are collaborating with different kind of customers, try to realize their ideas into real products and also scale up the productions to support them. So for examples that 20 years ago, we received this sketch from Steve Jobs. We turned it into a computer. And then when Google came to us, want to create a new operating system, standing a laptop optimized for operating system, we make it happen. When Nigel Ponte came to me that we need a new laptop optimized to support the education of the third world, and we make the one laptop per child projects, and later we make the beautiful Apple Watch. And in year 2007, we worked with MIT on the autonomous car. At the time, we support them at the most advanced brace server to power up all the sensors and for auto driving and for the Grand Papa Challenge. And so our interest in the autonomous car started in a very early stage with academia. And later we design and customize all these servers for the major cloud service providers like Google, Amazon, and others. So we are not just some, and of course, we have our 5G, private 5G solutions. When 5G central office is fully cloudified, we actually walk into the market naturally. Quanta is also the #2 collaborative robots providers. And we also have our software technology, especially on the e-commerce platforms and also the real-time information pushing systems. So it's a company. It's not just a company providing manufacturing as a service. It's actually a company full of all kinds of innovations, from software to algorithm. And so we every year we try to survive from the young startups because they keep trying to disrupt the market. So that's a reason why we call ourselves another startup, because every year we need to survive. And so every 10 years we create a vision for the future, and we try to understand our position inside our future vision and our position now. Then we do integrations, which means that working with suppliers, new startups, and also new customers. So we are quite lucky that every 10 years we became #1 in one sectors. In year 1988, our first vision is mobile computing. So in year 1999, we became world #1 in the laptop business. In year 2000, we started to work on cloud computing, and in year 2010, we became world #1. And we are now very focused on applying supercomputing and hyperconnectivity to build tools to enable more smart applications. We call it Smart X projects. And this year we just kick off another project with very focused on the metaverse. And so for us, a car is another enclosure of computer, and it also stands another native for the forthcoming the metaverse for us. So we actually currently we have a different kind of key technologies around metaverse, and from infrastructure networking, edge cloud, and also robotics, IoT, and also we have our own extended reality technologies. But it's not enough, because for different sectors like EV, you actually need more. So one of the things that we do is that how to build up a new win-win partnerships with the new partners for the new market, and that's exactly what we do every day. And so, but in addition to the box or servers, we also provide the full-scale supercomputing data center to power up the AI research in Taiwan and in other countries. And so in our group, we have three major groups. One focus on consumer, the other focus on the cloud infrastructure and also industrial applications. And so for the consumer, you know that we build the notebook, smart wearable, and smart device, VR, AR things. And cloud, we have full array of products that makes we are the #1 in the cloud service infrastructure. And also for industrial application group, we have 5G robotic arms, and also autonomous car is included here. And we build up different kind of medical devices and to support the digital health and smart medicine. And take Google, for example, we can see that we almost build all kind of hardware for them, from Chromebook, smart speaker, Google Glass, cloud, and to car server for Waymo. So you can see that many companies, they came to Quanta is that not requested for manufacturing as a service. They actually here looking for solutions. Take medical, for examples, we have full array of smart medicine solutions, and to support the hospitals, especially under the COVID-19 pandemics. And so we also build car to power up the connected autonomous car driving, from car, computer, car sensors, and also providing connectivities and also the cloud. So we try to integrate everything that we have as a platform to work with the startup companies, the great startup companies like those companies in Israel, to enable a much successful and healthy ecosystem in the EV market. And so this is the top 100 global innovators since 2019. And also we have a long-term relationship with MIT since year 2005. And that's a reason why we do autonomous car over there. We do human-centric computing, we do the cloud computing, and right now we are very focused on AI as a new tool for healthcare, but we also use AI for other applications. And so in year 2000s, we work with CCL, we established Quanta Research Institute for advanced research, but we also created a new business unit in 7 years ago. This business unit is the last business unit in Quanta, but it has the full capabilities on the cloud software and also on the hardware side. And so it's a company providing innovation, design, manufacturing as a service. So the next things I will use a few minutes to introduce our platforms And we try to leveraging our strengths on the IoT and on the AI at the same time in the order to create the new platforms to support on the application and the medicals, and also support the applications through AI OT platforms for other smart X applications. So we try to understand, we build the cloud connected to different kind of IoT devices. We try to provision AI as a service from cloud to edge for different kind of applications. And autonomous car is basically one of the applications that in this diagram. So in the future, what we're trying to do is that for human body, we try to create digital twins, but for car, we try to do the same things. And so that inside Quanta, we already built platforms to support AI training and also provide the infrastructure to power up the data. Once you collect the big data, how to create the inferencing model, how to deploy the inferencing model to the edge. So of course, digital twin is very important, but car digital twin is also in this category. And so for us, it's very important that we are looking for different kind of systems that need a specialized device to collect the data. And we build our own cloud. And on top of cloud, we do big data, we do AI, provision the AI to the edge, to the mobile edge. And we do fintech to secure the data for data exchange. And so you can see that if we change the human being into car, then that's another things. And that's exactly the things that we are doing. So for us, AI is car is another environment for AI to deploy smart e-mobile as a service. So the last slides I would like to show you is that you can see that we try to connect the dots from now to the future through the to optimize the user experience of the users, and also by AR, VR, IoT, mobile, networking, cloud, data, and big data, and also AI. Because we believe that the best way to predict the future is simply to predict it. But another things that I would like to explain is that we believe that autonomous car or EV car is not about providing a safer or secure environment to transport a human from one area to another area. Sometimes it's about driving for fun. And so it's also very important to take this element into consideration in the whole setting. And that will be something very important. Otherwise, it will be very, very to over exaggerate the needs of autonomous car. And so in the order to fulfill that kind of needs, we simply try to augment the intelligence of artificial, but also from the machine and also from the human being. And we are looking forward to work with you. And we believe that alone we might go fast, but together we go faster and far and further. Thank you.
Repeat the question. Dr. Zhang, in terms of startup collaboration, what are you looking for when you evaluate a company or a startup as a potential partner for Quanta?
This is a very good question. Basically, there are two things that we are looking for. One is that our future supplier. The other is our future customer. And so I always view, the startups from these two angles. And so that we are one of the most, the important system integrator in the world. So it's very easy for us to understand what's needed, to the qualified startup as our supplier. But it's also very important to understand what will be the new business opportunities that the startup can bring for Quanta in the future.
Thank you. Thank you for the answer, and thank you for the great presentation.
Thank you.
If we'll have time, we'll get more questions towards the end.
Sure.
We'll move on to our next speaker. So You all know that Taiwan is the semiconductor kingdom. So Taiwanese chip companies like UMC play a crucial role in the global automotive supply chain, enabling cars to be connected, autonomous, shared, and electric. Cars are becoming rolling computers, and the massive impact of the latest chip shortage on the automotive industry has made it clearer than ever. I'm very glad to have here with us today Steve Pan, who leads UMC Capital Investments in the US, Israel, and Greater Asia. And he's also highly familiar with the Israeli ecosystem. Steve?
Thank you, Shani. Can you guys hear me all right?
Yep, it's all good.
Awesome. Thank you, Taisha, for this wonderful event. Good morning, all. I'm Steve Pan from UMC Capital. We are the fully owned subsidiary of UMC Group. UMC Group is one of the world's largest wafer manufacturers. And so we are basically the CVC arm of UMC Group. We are an evergreen fund and have been investing globally since the early 2000s. There's been an old gist in Taiwan saying that although UMC is not the #1 in semis manufacturing, we have probably done a lot more in terms of helping out the Taiwanese semiconductor ecosystem throughout the years, with many of the UMC Group branches spinning out and becoming very successful on their own. On the investment side, semis, of course, is our bread and butter. Our fabs, I believe, are nearly all automotive qualified, but we do not do just purely strategic deals. We are very flexible in our investment terms. We'd like to help bridge and build great deep technology companies to be. Over the past few years, we've been working deeply with our partners over at Grove Ventures and Vertex Ventures to actively invest in the Israeli ecosystem. Our recent deals include Taranis, Neuroblade, and Ramon Space, great companies in the making. In the automotive sector, we've also been very, very active. We've done many investments in the automotive sector, but probably not in Israel yet. We've invested in FMCW LiDAR companies such as Silk. We believe that the LiDAR space will be very, very great, a huge market. We've looked at TOF-based and FMCW-based. We believe that in the future, FMCW will be the place to be. You do not need any complex GPU, super high-end GPU to process because data is already given in that format. It has the capability to potentially scale and potentially be very, very small and to be just as small as a headlamp or even smaller. We've also invested in software such as 4D sensor software such as Blue Space AI, automotive infrastructure software such as Sonatus. They have very deep connections with Hyundai in many of the new EVs and the new cars they're launching. We've also invested in battery materials companies such as eJoule. They provide high energy cathode materials for lithium-ion battery. Their material gives more bang for the buck, so to speak, and better battery performance and better yields. We've also done many other investments in the drivetrain, the components, the power, other nitty-gritty bits. Although they might not be Israeli automotive companies, we've also had many discussions with companies, great companies such as Tri-Eye, they're doing next generation SWIR sensor, such as Arbe, such as Bayar, Innoviz, Autotalks, and many other wonderful Israeli companies. We've been constantly looking for in the market for interestingly deep technology companies and deep innovations to build upon. We might not be able to invest in all the interesting companies, but we do try to help out wherever we might. In my few years studying and investing in Israel, I see that there are some key differentiators between the Israeli ecosystem and versus the Taiwan ecosystem. Israelis love to look for the next big thing, very big about bringing a fantastic prototype to the table. Coming from a Taiwanese investor background, bringing a shiny new thing to the table with a huge potential promise is great. But we also like to look at how do we build on top of that prototype? How do we help it scale? How do we get XYZ done in time and perhaps ahead of schedule? We are great at operations and execution. And I think that we have a lot of potential synergies to be had. The way we see the automotive sector might be a little bit different to a traditional automotive OEM or tier one. The next generation automobiles we think are basically data centers on wheels. Semis is definitely going to play a very big piece in the early transition, but software will be where it lifts things up to a further level. We think that in a few years' time, buying a new car will be probably as trivial as buying a new laptop or a new phone. When was really the last time you cared about having the next generation phone or the coolest laptop that was out? We believe that you will potentially use your car the same way as you use a phone or a laptop. This has in some way already been brought to the market by some of the Chinese brands such as Li Auto, Xiaopeng, or Nio. The brands might be different, the aesthetics might be a little bit different, but the rest of the car is more or less very similar. I think our friends over at Quanta and Foxconn as well, what they're trying to bring to the table, Foxconn with MIH program signifies that. They believe that they can manufacture lots and lots of cars in the future. And I believe that there are lots of potential synergies between Israeli startups and the Taiwanese ecosystem. So come to us at UMC Capital or any of my esteemed co-speakers, and together we might be able to help you grow into the next great company. Thank you.
Thank you, Steve. So I think the audience here would like to know, or they're interested in understanding, because you understand you have a vast experience in the bridge between Israel and Taiwan and Taiwanese companies. So what would you say would be your number one tip for an Israeli startup launching its journey in Taiwan?
I think the background in Taiwan is very engineering focused. So a lot of things, when I see Israeli companies, a lot of them are great in presenting something new, something fascinating. The great goal of being huge. But I think in Taiwan, the ecosystem likes to look at numbers, look at how to work the problem, and how do we manufacture engineering the solution. So come to us with some type of plan, with some type of motion to get this thing into mass production. I think that's a very key thing about working with Taiwanese companies.
Understood. Well, thank you, Steve, for this great talk. I think we'll be happy to see you in Israel very soon, hopefully this year.
Yeah, hopefully. The time of weather this time is great.
It is. So looking forward to it. We'll move on to our next speaker on site, which is great. Autotalks is a well-known startup with a highly impressive record of collaborations. Autotalks has deep connections and extensive experience working with Taiwan's top tech corporates. We are very excited to have here with us On Haran, Autotalks CTO and co-founder, to share their experience, or here's his experience and examples of the unique partnership opportunities with Taiwanese electronics companies.
Perfect. Okay. So building a successful business is very challenging. There are so many battles in so many fronts that a company should deal with. And one of the tools to increase the One of the tools to increase the likelihood of success is establishing partnership. My name is On Haran. I'm a co-founder and CTO of Autotalks, and I will share our experience of building successful partnership with Taiwanese companies. So first, few words about Autotalks. Autotalks is about saving lives. We aim to protect all road users, to eliminate accidents, to create a network that connects all vehicles and other road users like micromobility and pedestrian. The technology is called V2X, or Vehicle to Everything. And this is the only automotive sensors which operate without a line of sight. So since this is based on communication, vehicles that are coming to the intersection, they get information about each other without need to be observable. For example, a car can understand that a bicycle is ahead, even if the bicycle is blocked or obstructed by another car. The basis of communication is direct, meaning there's no base station involved. It's a car transmits and all the other car in proximity receive it. All road users are part of the V2X network. Of course, vehicles, which is the basic, and also infrastructure like traffic light, which can share the traffic light status, or smart intersection, where the camera can tell that there's someone crossing the street, and other vehicles can know that they should be careful when driving into the street. And in the future, connecting directly the vulnerable road users, which are the micromobility, bicycle, scooters, and at the end, pedestrians. Here's a short clip that demonstrates an accident that could have been solved with V2X. So if the two cars would have had V2X, then the car that is entering the intersection would have known that another car is now approaching very quickly, not planning to stop and about to hit it. So it will know and not enter the intersection. And in this case, the traffic light is not involved. It's just direct communication between two vehicles. Looking at the generations of V2X, we are now at the first generation, which is called Day 1, and it provides driving awareness. Driving awareness means that vehicles know where other road users are located. Every vehicle transmits every 100 milliseconds its location, speed, heading, and then other vehicles in the area analyze this information and understand if there's a risk or not. If there's a risk, they alert the driver, and in the future, they will alert the car itself, the ADAS, and the car can stop automatically to prevent the accident. So this is what is deployed now. In 2026, the new generation of V2X will be launched, which is called Day 2, cooperative perception or sensor sharing. The idea behind this is that the shared information is richer. The vehicle also shared all the objects that are detected by all the sensors, camera, radar, whatever. So, for example, if the car is driving and then there's another car without V2X, then that car becomes part of the network. So it means that the effective penetration is much higher and the effective value of the technology is also much higher. And that also adds to the network all the other road users which are not connected, like pedestrians and micromobility. The last generation coordinated mobility, Day 3, is most to coordinate mobility of autonomous vehicle, and that's targeting the next decade. For traffic optimization is also a major value of V2X, not only safety. OEMs or car makers are not very happy to include new features in the car because that means more expensive car, and then they need to increase the car to the customers. So it's really difficult to convince them to add new features. And the way to convince them is actually through safety ratings. Safety ratings are defined by NCAP, which is a new car assessment programs, which are done globally. There's an NCAP in Europe called Euro NCAP, in China called China NCAP. And both of them are working to grade V2X. In China, the grading will start in 2025, and that causes all the new vehicles that are now being planned for the Chinese market to have V2X. And in Europe, the grading from 2023, and in 2027, the expectation is that the content of V2X will be at least 30 points, 30%, and a car cannot get 5 stars unless it gets 70%. So it means that regardless of any other sensor in the vehicle, you must have V2X to get 5 stars. And actually that means that you must have V2X in the vehicle because people look at stars when they buy new vehicles. Now, going back to Taiwan and the topic of this talk, we established multiple partnerships with a Taiwanese company, and I will go into some of those here. The first thing is a cooperation that we established with Unix. Now, every company should know where it's good at and where it's not as good. And we are good at making chips, we are great at making chips, but we are not as good at creating mass production of products that can go to the market of actual boxes. And for that, we partnered with Unix. Unix developed onboard units, which are provided for vehicles, and roadside units, which are targeting intersection. They shipped thousands, maybe even 10,000 of units globally to pilots, to small-scale deployments, and we continue to cooperate with them in more pilots. Another thing that we cannot do alone is running a pilot in Taiwan. Of course, there should be someone between us and the Taiwanese authorities. So in Taiwan, ITRI is the most distinguished research institute, and they are running V2X pilots all around Taiwan. They are having 12 pilots, and we are happy to provide 100% of the chipset in those pilots all around Taiwan. Now, I don't think that I need to introduce Foxconn, but still, Foxconn is the largest manufacturer in the world. They are the manufacturer of the iPhone. And we started to discuss with them about bike safety. The reason is that, as I explained, in few years, all new vehicles will have V2X. In 2025, 2026, all new vehicles will have V2X. And looking at the statistics in Israel and Europe, most of the fatalities in the road are outside the vehicle, not inside the vehicle. So it only makes sense that our next task or our next focus will be protecting your road user outside the vehicle. And for that, we launched the Zeus platform for micromobility safety. You can actually see it in this show in the Hyundai Pavilion, which provides a reference platform for V2X safety for e-bikes and e-scooters. We discussed this with Foxconn. They were very enthusiastic because they also have some products for e-mobility, for micromobility. And the nice thing is that discussion about product even led to an investment. So that actually shows a nice progress of how you can make the tie between two companies tighter. My last example is with MediaTek. MediaTek is the second largest cellular modem supplier in the world, and of course they supply many other chipsets. What happened is that in 2018, we realized that the largest cellular modem supplier in the world tried to play some strategy of bundling the V2X with cellular modem. And obviously that poses a great risk on us and great risk on them. This risk currently doesn't exist, but that led us to work together because on the sentence that the enemy of my enemy is my best friend. So we became best friends. They started to develop together a solution of hardware, software, co-promoted it, and it took us a few years, and we won 2 mass production accounts, I think more than 2. One with a premium European OEM and another one with a Chinese OEM to go to mass production with them. So to summarize, I mean, we're a small company, relatively small company, I mean, more than 100 people, but compared to the gorillas in this market, we're relatively small, and we cannot do anything. And partnerships are a way to expand your power. So, for example, in China, we have few people, but a company like MediaTek have many more people. So they give us access to the market. They help us to gain accounts. Also, on the offering point of view, we can't do anything. We need to focus to do best what we are doing. We cannot do other things. So going together with other companies, we have the skill set and the IP know-how help us to bring a complete solution to the market. And of course, commercialization, I think that was clear that Israel is really far behind Taiwan in commercialization of products. The nice thing about cooperation in Taiwan is that there is a very long legacy in Taiwan of working with Western companies. So you see that the communication is excellent. The atmosphere is toward cooperation, very open, transparent. So we're really happy to work with Taiwanese company, and I encourage you all to do the same. Thank you.
Thank you. I think we'll just touch upon your last point of the partnerships you have in Taiwan, and we'll be happy to, if you can elaborate a bit more about your personal experience working with Taiwanese people, both professionally and on the personal level.
So I must admit that we have a VP for business development, which is located in Japan, and he's doing most of the interaction, but I can, from his discussion, it's like we have weekly meetings with them, alignment from the market side to really to understand where the opportunities, what is the status in each account, how we can do to improve our ability to win the accounts, and from the technical side to understand the offering gaps and what we need to do in order to integrate. So it's very tight collaboration, and it's really something that we align on very good level. No. Just a second.
I may ask, what made you look at Taiwan first and not on the auto manufacturers in Europe, in Germany, or Italy, or other places? I mean, the Asian advantages are pretty good in terms of the cost and things like that. But in terms of market leadership, I'm just curious, as someone who is learning more and more about Taiwan and the advantages, what made a company in Israel go there, other side of the world, and not look more closely?
No, I'm not saying that we are not looking closely. Of course that we have strong relationship in Germany and there all the time, and then also in China. But if you want to establish partnership with companies that can really do commercialization, then Europe isn't necessarily the way to go. I mean, those are different things. I mean, the customers are in Europe, so we need to be in Europe, and the tiers are in Europe. But how do you improve your probability to win those OEMs and those tiers? So when you approach a customer, you approach it in multiple levels. You need to approach the OEM, the tier 2, and also those partners.
Again, thank you, On, for this great talk. It's a great angle to understand and to communicate. We are hoping that by now you have a better understanding of the synergies and huge potential that are unique for Taiwan and Israel collaboration. We will take the next few minutes we have left to present a great startup program we are initiating here for Israeli mobility startups that will help form collaborations with Taiwanese automotive partners. Ifat will take the stage.
Hey, hello. This one. Okay, so I guess that by now you are all eager to know how you can start your building your networking and your connections in Taiwan. So this is actually our job in the Taiwan Trade and Innovation Center. And I will just take a few minutes to introduce what we are doing in the automotive sector. So we have a great focus on this sector. For example, we just finished a program specifically for startups with manufacturing needs in Taiwan. We finished a project this month for publishing a series of articles about Israeli startups in the automotive cyber industry. And now I want to present our main project for automotive, which is the 2035 e-mobility Taiwan show. So this is an exhibition that is only for automotive technology in Taiwan. It's the major exhibition in Taiwan. Just a second. Here you can see the main themes of this year's show. It was held physically in Taipei last year, and it will be so also this year during October for 3 days. We really hope that it will happen also this year physically, and that international travelers will be also able to attend. So if you want to participate, you have a few ways. First is the physical conference for 3 days in October. Also, we will have an online exhibition for 2 weeks. So Israeli companies are welcome to participate as exhibitors to get a booth online or physical. And the third way is that if you are more young companies, we highly recommend you to join our Global Demo Day. It's a startup competition. The top 10 startups that will win this competition will get the following benefits. So firstly, and most importantly, an opportunity to pitch and exhibit in the 2035 e-mobility show in Taiwan, followed by networking events and opportunities in the conference. And TITRA, our organization, will cover traveling expenses, accommodation, etc. Next important benefit is the B2B matchmaking. So this is one of the few opportunities where we can actually take your wish list of potential partners in Taiwan and organize B2B meetings for you. Last year, these meetings were held virtually, and it was actually very convenient, and we got great feedback from the Israeli startups who won and participated, and also benefits like media coverage and more. So the qualification, you can see them. The application process is rather simple. It's simply just to submit your company's deck and any kind of material you want to present. And a panel of international judges will review and select 10 winners. Our team that is based here in Israel, including myself, are here to assist you if you have any question in the process. And just to sum up, so last year it was the first time Taitra organized this competition. It was very successful. We have companies from 26 countries and happily many from Israel. And we had 4 startups in the 10 top winners that were Israelis. And we look forward to have many more Israeli startups participating this year. So that's it. If you have more questions about the competition, about the 2035 exhibition in Taiwan, or generally about how you can work in Taiwan, any kind of assistance, you can just approach us after we are here in the conference for the day. You can also scan this QR code, leave your name, email, our team will contact you. I want to also add that we are working with our speakers to organize meetings with Israeli companies in the next few weeks. So you can also approach us if you have any interest in that, and I'm sure you have. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you, Ifat. So I think we'll conclude first by saying thanks to our great speakers that unfortunately had to connect from a distance, but next year we are expecting to see them here. So thank you, Dr. Ted Chung, and also great thank you for Steve, both connecting. This was great and really insightful. And we'll end by just opening, just giving you an opportunity to approach us here after the event at EcoMotion, and we'll be happy to hear from you, from Israeli startups, and work more closely with you in the future. Thank you all for coming.